Hey everybody, and welcome to the channel. I hope all is well. I wanted to do a brief video. This, unfortunately, we're looking at Chicago, Chiraq. Gosh, it's like every day we have something negative. There's a murder, there's a killing. So here we have a short clip I'd like you to review and do a brief commentary on. A student was killed, and all he was doing was, I believe, riding the bus or the train and killed by a stray bullet. It's in Chicago. Who the hell do you think did this? Honestly and truly. So, as Godfrey has informed us,
not even in context with what I was saying they're trying to dismantle Black manhood. They're trying to ruin the Black father image.
Now, we already know when crimes happen in Chicago because it's pretty much just the young Black man. And the sad thing is, what if it could be someone, of another nationality? They do have these masks you can buy and they look real and what have you. But stop and think, because these youngsters are out of control. We know they don't give a what, just do a bunch of shoot 'em up. It could be anybody of another nationality. And automatically, because we see Pookie and Ray Ray running wild in the streets, can't barely read, but your daddy worried about Cynthia G, it's going to be seen as you. So they haven't caught a suspect or have a suspect in custody that they're looking for, but I think we can pretty much all guess who it is. So check out this clip, fair use.
President Biden stopped at Chicago's O'Hare Airport to meet with the mayor there, Lori Lightfoot, about the city's surge in violent crime. The meeting came after a violent holiday weekend where an officer and two federal agents were shot and wounded in broad daylight.
Now, stop and think. An officer, and two ATF agents were just shot in broad daylight. So what you're saying, basically, if this is the young gang student or the young, Pookie and Ray Rays in the community, you just like lawlessness, and you're trying to send a message to them that even they can get that heat. Guess what? You won't win, baby. They have more manpower than you, okay? They have more manpower than any group of hood boogers. Trust and believe, but let's continue. So that right there lets you know they really want to terrorize the community, and that's why they do things. They're trying to say, hey, you can have cops here, ATFs, they can still get it too. But that's okay. Let's continue. Trust and believe. While you sitting up playing games, videos, and being Mr. and Miss Sleep and Eat, that's all you do is sleep, eat, cause harm, and repeat. Trust and believe. These people are not playing with you. They're very good at planning. Check the history of the country. They will come with a plan to deal with you. But let's continue.
And just days after, this child right here, this student, a University of Chicago student, a rising junior, died after being hit by a stray bullet on a city train. Our next guest is also a student at the University of Chicago, and she wrote an op-ed calling out the mayor's soft on crime policies. Her name is Audrey Unverfurth, and she joins us now. Good morning, Audrey.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
I know you didn't know Max Lewis. He was heading to an internship at a finance firm. He was from Denver. His parents sent him off to college, and he's not going to come home. He was killed there in Chicago. How is the school reacting, and what are your...
So another family, I've done videos on what Godfrey said, Black women are being traumatized by Black men, by the anger. So here we have that anger has transferred onto another community. Imagine what that family is going through. A college student. This youngster, I think he was leaving. He had an internship at a VC, venture capitalist. Gee, a future in finance, a future in Wall Street. All that money paid for undergrad, a life lost. Now, he's deceased. Imagine the people, family and friends, relatives that knew and loved him. Look what this anger has bought, a stray bullet. These fools trying to shoot and can't even shoot straight. I mean, honestly, but that's okay. I guarantee you there will be a reckoning. And when they start to plan and execute, guess what? Chocolate drop, this will stop and you won't like it. But let's continue.
What are your friends saying?
We're all just so incredibly devastated. I mean, it's just so senseless. And as you say, I didn't know him, personally, but his face is familiar to me. His name was familiar. He's someone who I know. I passed on the quad countless times, and everyone in the community just says he was such a light in their lives. Like, his friends have been speaking out, saying he was just so humble and so kind. He was the president of his fraternity. He was double majoring. He had a really bright future ahead of him. He was so involved in the community. And as you say, he was just viciously and senselessly gunned down on his way home from his summer internship. He was struck in the back of the neck, and he was 20 years old. And it's so devastating. And I'm so very sorry. It's just heartbreaking.
I want to read a quote from your op-ed. You said, "I've ridden the CTA countless times. When my friends and I board the train, we shouldn't fear that we'll be murdered by a stray bullet. When we sit down on the bus, we shouldn't worry that we'll be knifed to death. That's absurd. Thanks to the incompetence of Lightfoot, this lunacy has become a reality." Joe Biden was there shaking hands with her on the tarmac. Do you think the two of them will do anything about this?
I fear they won't. I hope they will, but I fear that yesterday was just more empty platitudes, more promises that won't be kept. I mean, Lori Lightfoot had the nerve recently to say that crime in Chicago is on the decline. That's a blatant lie. Crime is not on the decline. Homicides and shooting rates are up. And as we've seen, Chicago had its most murderous weekend of the year over the 4th of July. Over 90 people were shot. And I fear that was just an opportunity for a photo op yesterday with President Biden.
So I'm going to go ahead and stop here. Crime is up. So imagine what will happen if the moratorium starts to end on these rentals and housing and the evictions, and you've got this. You have millions of people that are homeless, and then you have this element that's also homeless. So you can imagine it will be reduced to like a third world country. You know, you'll have to be armed just to protect yourself. But the other issue is this. I know they're giving Lori Lightfoot a lot of heat. I will say I don't agree with her when she refused to bring in the National Guard. When she refused to bring in the National Guard, when that was mentioned before prior, I just saw that as a prime example of the Black female worship, because she knew darn well with the National Guard, there weren't going to be a lot of, they're not going to engage in due process. All they know is you're out here, you're causing problems. They would just do a mass lockup. And I do believe that Lori Lightfoot, the reason that maybe she declined the National Guard, she knew that was going to happen. So once again, this here, I see that as a way to pretty much protect Pookie and Ray Ray. But as the title says, Dear Violent Chocolate Drop, trust and believe. This right here, don't be surprised when there's a roundup by the cops. It is so embarrassing. When this right here is also indicative of the culture in the community. It's okay just to be in poverty and for women just to make a bad decision and just have child after child after child by thug after thug after thug. And then my issue is this. They don't raise these children, or the streets raise them. Baby mama, if you put this thug here, you and your man, you're safe. But then you unleash this little creature that is full of dysfunction that you've created, that is full of anger. So he goes out to the streets and he just does something so stupid and irrational. You unleash and I hate to say this, but you just have to be real. There's no putting any sugar on it. You unleash your demented, psychologically dehumanized, devoid of feeling of anything natural. You release your demonic seed on others. This is what happens. And this kid being shot in Chicago is nothing new. You can, like I said before my prior video, you can't sit on your porch, eat ice cream, in your room, watch television, or reading a book, and a stray bullet will come through. But like I said, chocolate drop, don't be surprised when the roundup stops. This right starts by the cops. There is going to be an awakening, and you won't like it. And you wonder why the prisons are filled with you. Women, you got to make better decisions. Wear fur queen, honey. You're going to have to get out of that mentality instead of using your womb as a wallet, because you have those kids that are going to pay for them. It's at this point, it's just there's no help. my personal opinion, I would consider it a crime to raise a child in Chicago. I would consider it a crime to be in Chicago as a female and get pregnant by a man with PD, a man of poverty. You know what's going to happen. Why are you getting pregnant by these dusties? I do not understand. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Another day in the hood where people are murdered and it's considered all good. I'm out.